All right, guys. So I think previously we have seen till the first thing we saw was the basic concepts. There were around 17 questions on basic concepts. Then we went to the economic measurements. Okay, so under measurements again there were 20 plus questions. Now we will be going on. Now we'll be going on to the money and banking portion. Now this money and banking portion is one of the most important section. Under money and banking you will see that there are, just a moment, sorry for that. Yeah. So under money and banking you will see that there are around 56 questions which have been asked in UPSC in the last 13 years. Alright, so 56 question in the last 13 years means approximately 4 question every year. Okay, sometimes it can be more, sometimes it can be less also. So let's quickly start with money and banking. Alright, so the very first question under money and banking is, the question says that consider the following statements. Consider the following statements in the post-pandemic recent past. Okay, so they are being very specific with respect to the timeline. This is very important in UPSC questions. Each and every word holds importance. You can talk about the past. You can also talk about the recent past. So that should give you an understanding of what time period they are talking about. Alright. So here in the post-pandemic period, recent past. Okay, in the post-pandemic period, recent past, many central banks worldwide, throughout the world, had carried out interest rate hikes. So it's saying that post-pandemic recent past, after the pandemic was over, then not during the pandemic, but after the pandemic, what happened is many central banks, like we have our RBI, in USA there is a federal bank, in the same manner various central banks worldwide had carried out an interest rate hikes. Okay, statement 2 says that central banks generally assume that they have the ability to counteract the rising consumer prices via the monetary policy means. Now we need to understand that in India, the MPC Monetary Policy Committee, which involves the RBI, has the responsibility to maintain the inflation. We have target inflation in India, right? Inflation targeting in India. So of course central banks has not the responsibility is also dedicatedly there. At the same time, the central bank also has the ability to do it. Okay. So this statement is very straightforward. Okay, whenever there is fluctuation of rate, whether let's say the rate is going up, inflation is high and you need to bring it down, or let's say for example inflation is too low and you need to increase it because you have to maintain at the level of 4 plus minus 2%. Right? So central banks do have that ability, that is for sure. So statement 2 is correct. So now we need to understand which option, in which option statement 2 is correct. So in option A it says both statement 1 and statement 2 are correct and statement 2 is the correct explanation for statement 1. That is possible because here also statement 2 they are saying it is correct. Let's look at the second option. Second option says both statement 1 and statement 2 are correct and statement 2 is not the correct explanation. Okay. C option says statement 1 is correct but statement 2 is incorrect. This would be wrong. Why? Because statement 2 we have established that it is clearly correct. Last option, statement 1 is correct and statement 2 is correct. So statement 2 we know is correct. So by just knowing that statement 2 is correct, it's not helping us much. It is helping us to only eliminate one option. So we have to now focus on statement 1 as well. So what does the statement 1 say? Statement 1 is saying that the RBI, for example, has increased the interest rate after post-pandemic, after the post-pandemic. Now what would be the situation after post-pandemic? Also, two things you need to understand. What would be the situation after post-pandemic? Also, what will happen if interest rates are increased? So let's take the easier route first. What would happen when the interest rates are hiked or increased? When the interest rates are hiked by the RBI, that means borrowing money from the bank becomes costlier. That means money becomes costlier. Since, let's say for example, RBI increases the repo rate from 6% to 6.5%. So the home loans you might be getting at 9%, you may now get it at 9.5 or 9.9 or 9.8%. The personal loans you might be getting at 16% would be 16.5. The business loan you would be getting at some amount would again be increased. So what is happening here? The money is getting costlier. Alright. So now since the money will get costlier, what will happen? Less number of people would want to borrow money because the money is costlier. So less number of people will want to buy home, less number of people will want to open business, less number of people would want to buy car or vehicle, any vehicle, or take any personal loan, right? So because less number of people would want to borrow money from the bank, that means lesser amount of money will be in the market, right? So when would RBI want lesser amount of money in the market? When there is already a lot of money in the market. And what will be the situation when there is already a lot of money in the market? A situation of inflation, right? So this is very clear. RBI would increase or hike the interest rates only when there is inflation, for example, right? So now you need to just simply understand, was the post-pandemic situation in the recent past an inflationary situation or not? The answer is yes, it was. Why it was? That is because during the pandemic, it was complete lockdown. It was a lockdown. So of course, people were out of job, but at the same time, a lot of industries and shops and everything were also not functioning. So the supply side was also hampered, right? And the moment the pandemic got over and the lockdowns got over, people would then go out, people would then spend, people would then go to theaters. Imagine for months you have not gone out for a movie, so more and more people would be doing things, buying things which would have an inflationary impact. At the same time, the supply side was also hampered, so supply side will also take some time to come into normal services, right? So there would be more supply and demand gap because demand suddenly increased, right? But supply would still take time, right? And demand would further increase even more. So what will happen? Inflationary effect. So inflationary situation would be there when there was a post-pandemic situation, means after the pandemic. So we have understood post-pandemic recent past would be inflationary in nature. We also understood that when it is inflationary in nature, central banks, for example RBI in India, would increase the interest rate. So statement 1 is correct. Now that we know statement 1 is correct, statement 2 is correct, we are left with only two options, A and B. Now the issue is statement 2 a correct explanation of statement 1 or not? Absolutely it is. Okay, RBI has the ability to address the fluctuation of inflation, and RBI has the responsibility as well as the ability, right? So central banks generally assume, yes, because they have the ability, that's why they assume that they have the ability to counteract the rising consumer prices via monetary policy means, and that is exactly what they have done here. So the correct answer here would be both statement 1 and statement 2 are correct, and statement 2 is the correct explanation for statement 1. All right, so this is your correct answer here. Let's quickly move on to the next question. Yes, with reference to central bank, I hope it's visible clearly to everyone. Yeah, with reference to central bank digital currencies, consider the following statements. So what are the statements? This is statement 1 and this is statement 2. Statement 1 says that it is possible to make payments in a digital currency without using US dollar or SWIFT system. Okay, so see, the first part is very obvious. When it's digital currency, there can be any different kinds of digital currency. So is it possible to make a payment in a digital currency without the US dollar? Yes, it is absolutely possible, right? But the problem is without the SWIFT system. So you need to know what is this SWIFT system. So this SWIFT system is nothing but what it does is whenever there is an exchange of currency, this SWIFT system transfers the messages and notifications. So for example, if you buy something from some shop and pay it via Google Pay or net banking, right? So what will happen, or net banking or Google Pay or Phone Pay or any online transfer system, you will get a notification, right? If you are paying me, for example, some amount of money, I'll get a notification that someone has credited me this amount. You will get a notification that your account has been debited with this money as it has been credited to me. All right. So all those things at international level is done by the SWIFT system. All right. That is your SWIFT system. It basically transfers information, provides notification, whenever there is any transaction or exchange or transaction made. Clear? So we understood payment is possible in digital currency without US dollar. Is it possible without SWIFT system? Yes, absolutely it's possible. Not necessarily every transaction would be under SWIFT system. Cryptocurrency would not be under SWIFT system. It is not under any system whatsoever. Later on the governments would want to bring it under the system. That's a different thing, but presently it is not. So yes, it is possible for this to happen. Alright, it is absolutely possible for this to happen. Now, the second statement says that a digital currency can be distributed with a condition programmed into it such as a time frame for spending it. A digital currency can be distributed with a condition programmed into it such as a time frame for spending it. Meaning, I will transfer you the money, I will transfer you the digital currency, okay, and I will give you a time frame for 2 days. So if you do not spend it in 2 days, the currency is gone. It is exhausted. It is now gone. Can this be possible? Yes, this can also be possible, right? Simply because it's a digital currency. Now what happens if you transfer me, let's say 100 rupees? There is no time limit you can put it. I may spend it today, I may not spend it today, and you may never get it back. But with digital currency, even this additional layer is there, right? You transfer me the money. If I don't use it back, you need to give me a time frame to use it. If not, it can go back to you. Okay. So this is also very much possible. This is an informative question. Here you cannot apply much logic. Probably statement 1 you can, but statement 2 you cannot. The correct answer is option C. That is both 1 and 2. Now let's move on. Question 3 says the chairman of public sector banks are selected by Banks Board Bureau, Reserve Bank of India, Union Ministry of Finance, Management of concerned bank. Now, management of concerned bank will not be the case because corporate governance is there. You need to have not from within people are discussing who to become the chairperson, right? It should be some independent authority sort of which should appoint the chairperson, right? Independent authority, because if it is an if the inside people are only deciding, then you may not have proper regulation on that bank. So that is why you need to have an independent authority. This is very clear. So since you need to have an independent authority, this would be gone, right? This is gone. Ministry of Finance, no, Ministry of Finance has other tasks to do. It will not involve itself in this kind of small things. Of course, this is also a big thing, but it is a completely different track with respect to the kind of task this is. Tomorrow you may find that ministry comes up with this or doing this also, but as of now, the Union Ministry does not do it. The confusion could be between Banks Board Bureau and Reserve Bank of India. Now this question was asked because Banks Board Bureau was in news, right? And this question I think is of 2019 if I'm not wrong. Yes, 2019 question. Banks Board Bureau was in news. So if you are a serious aspirant studying your current affairs religiously, regularly, you would have definitely heard about Banks Board Bureau. So the correct answer here is Banks Board Bureau. It appoints the chairperson of public sector banks. It is selected by the Banks Board Bureau. Now what is a Banks Board Bureau? Banks Board Bureau is an... Now I said Union Ministry of Finance will not do, but doesn't mean the government will not be involved. The government will be involved, but it will not do it directly. It will appoint a body to do it. And that body is Banks Board Bureau. It is an autonomous government body. Remember this, because it can so happen that this time they ask a question, which of the following statements about Banks Board Bureau is correct? And one of the options would be it is an autonomous government body. Okay. Let's move on. Question 4, the services area approach. The services area approach was implemented under the purview of which of the following? Now here, since we are doing money and banking, you would try to find option which is related to bank and tick that as right. But that logic will not apply in the exams. So let us try to find out if any other logic is there or it is simply a factual question. So the services area approach was implemented under the purview of Integrated Rural Development Program. Services area approach, it's quite possible. Lead bank scheme, possible. Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, even this is possible. National Skill Development Mission, even this is possible. So you cannot apply as such a logic, either you know it or you don't know it. But lead bank scheme was in news, and hence you should know that the services area approach was implemented under the purview of the lead bank scheme. Now what was lead bank scheme? See, when it comes to lead bank scheme, you have unbanked and underbanked areas. Okay, so you have unbanked and underbanked areas, right? Unbanked is there are no banks only for kilometers and kilometers of radius. Underbanked as in it's quite far, but after some kilometers you may get it, and that may not be a full-fledged bank. Only some amount of services would be there. There would not be digitization. All that kind of things can happen. So unbanked and underbanked areas were there, and we had started Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, wanting to open accounts of each and every individual of India, so that everyone has financial access. Okay. So now how would that be possible? People don't have banks so that they can go and open the account. So then another scheme was started wherein the banking officials were coming to your doorstep to open your account. Not in cities generally. In cities also it can happen, but in the rural and remote areas. Okay. So in the rural and remote areas they would come. Now this is clear. Now when you have opened the account, again you have to use it. So when you have to use it, again there is no bank. So what? Again the person will come and give you the cash if you want to take out or take the cash? No. Then you need to do something about it. So then the service area approach was implemented under the lead bank scheme. The one, the bank, let's say the SBI bank is there in some region. Now there is another village or a remote area here. It does not have any bank whatsoever. The closest bank itself would be 20 kilometers away, but let's say that closest bank is the SBI bank. So this SBI bank would become the lead bank for this particular area. What do you mean by that? By that you mean that now it is this SBI bank's responsibility to ensure that the financial services are provided to this region. Now how to do it? Open a small sister branch or something like that, that you have to look at it. But this bank has now been made the lead bank of this region, right? So that was the concept of the lead bank, a bank becoming a lead bank of various regions in order to provide financial services to those unbanked and underbanked areas. All right. Very well. Question 5th, which of the following is not included in the assets of a commercial bank? Which of the following is not included in the assets? Remember, there are keywords to focus on. Everything depends on the word assets. Which of the following is not included in the assets of a commercial bank in India? Advances. Advances as in the bank has given something. This right does not mean that this is the correct answer. Advances. Advances means, I have given you certain advance, right? I have given you some money which I will get back, right? So if I will get back that money, it's not I am the bank, I have given you some money and I will get it back. So it is not a liability on me, it's a liability on you. For me, what it is an asset. Why? Because I am a bank, I will just like that not give you the money. When I give you the money, when I give you advance, I will charge you some interest rate. So that money as an advance which I have given you will earn me revenue via the interest rate. So this is definitely an asset, right? What about investments? I as a bank has invested in certain other things, certain bonds. See, banks also invest, all right. Be very clear on that, simply because if banks have a lot of money and not much people are borrowing right now, so banks may either keep it with RBI reverse repo rate so that some interest the banks also keeps earning, or it will invest that money somewhere else which has assured returns kind of a thing, right? So banks would also invest. So whenever the banks are investing, they would earn money on that also, and it is not a liability, that is also an asset for them. Money at call and short notice. This is very beneficial for the bank. What is money at call and short notice? Generally these kind of loan, this is also a kind of a loan or advance given by the bank. How does it work? It is money at call. Money at call as in when you need money overnight for a day, right? Overnight, short notice, there is no notice, immediately you need money. So if there is no notice, how will the bank be able to give at such a short notice overnight for one day, for example? The bank will be able to give because these generally the companies, big companies ask for this. Let's say a company has done some job, now they are about to get money, but that money is delayed and the company needs to pay their employees and they want to maintain the track record of paying at the exact same date regularly and consistently. So they pay, let's say, on 28th of the month. In fact, the previous the very first company I worked in, a multinational, L&T, it pays you on, it doesn't wait for 1st of the next month, it pays you on 28th of same month, right? And if 28th is a Sunday, it will pay you on 27th. That's their record. So let's say if they do not have the money, they are yet to get from the clients, or some money mismanagement or some issue is there, they will immediately go to the bank and ask for money at call. Okay, ask for money overnight for one single day or 2 days, because they anyhow know the money is about to come. So this also is nothing but a type of loan that the banks give, and since the banks is giving loan, this is also an asset. When a banks give a loan, it is again an asset for the bank that is generating revenue for the bank. So what is left? Deposits. Now deposits is not an asset but a liability for the bank. How is a deposit liability? You have your demand deposit in the bank. Is it an asset for the bank? Absolutely not. It is a liability. Why? Because the bank has kept that safe for you and you can utilize anytime you want. Right now you may have, let's say, 1000 rupees in your account. Immediately you can purchase a thing worth 1000. So it's not bank's money. Bank is not earning anything from it, and bank has to give you whenever they want. Hence deposit, guys, is a liability and not an asset. I hope that's clear. Moving on. Which one of the following is not the most likely measure the government RBI takes to stop the slide of Indian rupee? Again, look at the wordings. Very important to understand. Most likely, that means is not the most likely. So they have used the phrase most likely. Okay, that means any of the things government can do, but most likely what they will do or what they will not do. For example, any of the things the government will not do any of the things, but what is most likely that they will not do? Most likely, they are asking the best possible option. Okay, so which one of the following is not the most likely measure the government or the RBI takes to stop the slide of Indian rupee? What do you mean by slide of Indian rupee? For example, if $1 was equal to 70 rupees, now that $1 is equals to 82 rupees. So what has happened? The value of rupee has gone down. The rupee's value has depreciated, gone down against the dollar. So we can say that the value of Indian rupee is sliding, and if it keeps on going down and down, it is nothing but sliding. So now you need to stop that slide. Why you need to stop that slide? You need to stop that slide because in such a situation, it will help the exports. The exports will become cheaper. Your export from India to other country will become cheaper. People would want to have more of your goods and services. That is correct. But that will only increase the volume. It will not necessarily increase the value. At the same time, India has a lot of compulsory imports. So India will have to import crude oil, activated pharmaceutical ingredients, silicon chips. So many compulsory imports we have to do. So when you import, the imports will become costlier, and since we have compulsory imports, we cannot even reduce them. So our import bill will increase. That will be a cost, a high cost on our foreign exchange reserves. So we should not want that to happen. So then RBI or government will step in. So what they will do certain things. They are asking what are they most likely to not do. Okay. First, curbing imports. Also remember there is a not here. Okay. Don't get confused. Curbing imports of non-essential goods and promoting exports. Yes, they can do that. They can curb. As I said, essential things, compulsory imports you will not be able to. But non-essential, which are not compulsory, which are non-essential, you can curb. So yes, the government will do it. Encouraging Indian borrowers to issue rupee-denominated masala bonds. And encouraging Indian borrowers to issue rupee-denominated masala bonds. So this can also be done. Masala bonds. Masala bonds are such bonds which are actually denominated in Indian rupees. It is an international bond. This masala bond, it's there in UK as well. Masala bonds. It is not denominated in pounds or dollars. It is denominated in rupee. Okay, so by doing that, what you are doing, you are making the Indian rupee hot. People will demand more Indian rupees, so that will appreciate its value. Easing conditions relating to external commercial borrowing. Yes, we can ease the conditions since dollar is now costlier, so you can ease the conditions so that we can survive. Following an expansionary monetary policy. Following an expansionary monetary policy. Now, what do we mean by an expansionary monetary policy? By expansionary monetary policy, you mean spending more. For example, the government has fiscal deficit. We need to maintain our fiscal deficit round about 3.5%. But government suddenly decides to spend even more. Government takes the fiscal deficit up to 5% or 5 to 6% for example, 7% for example. So what is the government doing? Government spending more. Government spending more rupee in the market. More rupee in the market, lesser the value of rupee. Right? Anything which is more in the market, its value goes down. If there is just one pen and 10 people want to buy, its value will go up. If there are 1 million pens and only 10 people want to buy, the value will go down. So more money in the market will reduce the value of the money further. So this is most likely the government will not do. Okay. The government will not do this, hence your answer would be D. Rest everything the government would do in order to stop the slide of the Indian rupee. Very well, let's continue. Money multiplier effect. Let us understand what money multiplier effect is. First, let's see what the question asks. The money multiplier in an economy increases with which one of the following? Okay. So money multiplier effect, how it works is, let's say I have 100 rupees kept saved, kept in the safe in my home. Now it's there for 1 year, for example, 2 years, 3 years. I'm not using it. It's not in the economy as such. It is as good as in the economy because I can use it whenever I want, but actually it has not entered the market for in all practicality. But now let's say if I do that. Now let's say I bring that 100 rupees in the market. Okay. So I spent rupees 100 to buy an ice cream from an ice cream vendor, right? So I will give rupees 100 to the ice cream vendor. Now this 100 rupees I have given. With this 100 rupees the ice cream vendor borrows some food, buys food grains. So the ice cream vendor would again give this rupees 100 to the food grain shopkeeper. Now with that 100 rupees the food grain shopkeeper goes and buys, let's say, some toys for their children. Now this would be a toys shopkeeper from where the food grain shopkeeper bought. Now this toys shopkeeper also got rupees 100. Now this toys shopkeeper would go and want to have some, let's say, lunch in restaurant. In the restaurant, right? So that's when this toy shopkeeper would give rupees 100 to the restaurant person, and then that restaurant person would use this rupees 100 in some other manner. So what is happening? 100 rupees came into the market, and look how many people are using it, how many times it's seen visible. Okay, here when I gave it to the ice cream vendor, when ice cream vendor used it to buy food grains, when the food grain shopkeeper used it to buy toys, when the toy shopkeeper used it to go to a restaurant and have lunch, and then subsequently the restaurant owner using it for something else. So 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, it will keep on happening. What is happening? The money is getting multiplied. The money is multiplying. It is still the same 100 rupees, but it is changing hands. Since it is changing hands, okay, since it is changing hands, that means it is getting multiplied. So this, guys, is the money multiplier effect. Now, how was that made possible? When that 100 rupees which was kept safe came into the market, then it came into the market and money multiplier effect was there. Now, let's go back to the question. The question says money multiplier effect in an economy increases with which one of the following? A. Increase in the cash reserve ratio. Absolutely not. Why? Because what is cash reserve ratio? It is some amount of money which the bank needs to keep aside, so that in certain unforeseen difficult situation the bank has money to utilize. Because see, if the bank has 100 rupees, the bank cannot loan out all 100, because a lot of money is demand deposit. Tomorrow people may come in and ask for money from their salary account, from their savings account, from their current account. Then what will we do? So some amount needs to be kept aside. Cash reserve ratio is one such amount. The other such amount is the statutory liquidity ratio. It is also the amount which needs to be kept aside. So since these are the amounts that need to be kept aside, this will not lead to increase in the money multiplier effect. So this is wrong. This is also wrong. Okay. Option D is increase in the population of the country. Doesn't matter. Population is increasing, money is not increasing. So how does it increase the money multiplier effect? Not necessarily. So this is wrong. The only option that remains is B, which will be correct because we eliminated all of the other options. But let's see what the option B is. Option B is increase the banking habit of the population. Yes. Why? Remember, my money was kept in safe, in a jar, for example, in the jar of rice, for example, at my home. That's why it was not there. If the banking habit of the population increases, if instead of keeping just a moment, guys. So if instead of keeping it inside the house in a jar, if I keep it in the bank, let's say as a fixed deposit, so then that money bank can use to give loans to others, and then people can buy things, and then when they buy things, they give the money to someone else, and then that someone else can use this money, and that will increase the money multiplier effect. I hope this is absolutely clear. Okay. Now, yes. Now let's look at the next question. It is a question of 2019 again, I think, and it was a very contested question. Different people had given different answers for that, but now we are having a benefit that the answer key is out, so we exactly know what the right answer is. Okay. Now consider the following items: cereal grains hulled, chicken eggs cooked, fish processed and canned, newspapers containing advertising material. The question asks which of the following items are exempted under GST. So it's a very factual question, guys. Either you know it or you don't know it. You cannot apply much logic to it. Okay. So cereal grains hulled. Okay. This the primary producer, when they are extracting the cereal grains and selling off, that is exempted from GST. Okay. Then chicken eggs cooked, this is also exempted. Now fish processed and canned, one thing is happening here is food processing. So your food processing is not exempt. You should know that. Since food processing is not exempt, so fish processed and canned will not be exempted. Okay. Now we know 3 is not exempted. So this is gone, this is gone. We know 2 is exempted. So there is only one option which has 1 and 2 both, and we know both are exempted. So this C would be the right answer. So also we get to know that newspaper containing advertising material is also exempted under GST. Now you will see almost all newspaper anyhow has advertising material in it. So they could have also given just newspapers, but they again try to confuse you more by mentioning containing advertising material. So the answer is 1, 2, 4. You have to know it. There are list of products, hundreds and thousands of products, so it becomes difficult. So either you know it or you don't know it. You could have left it if you don't know it, of course. Coming on to the next question, question number 9. Question number 9 says, with reference to the governance of public sector banking in India, consider the following statements. Statement 1. Capital infusion into public sector banks by the government of India has steadily increased in the last decade. No, it has not. Why? Because more privatization and less dependency on the government. The dependency on government reduced. So if the dependency is reduced, not more and more would be put in, and it is saying steadily increased. That means if I draw a graph, the graph should be like this. If the graph is even for once it goes this and that, it is still not correct because it is going down here. Okay, so it has to continuously increase, right? So that has not happened. As I said, the dependency on the government has gone down. So that is not correct. Statement 2 says, so this statement is incorrect. Statement 2 says to put the public sector banks in order, the merger of associate banks with the parent State Bank of India has been affected. Yes, the merger of banks have happened. Merger of banks have happened. Okay, why? To put the public sector banks in order, there were certain issues to increase the efficiency, inefficiency and all was there. So to increase the efficiency, the banks were merged, right? So statement 2 is correct. So the correct answer would be B2 only. Now, why to merge the bank? To merge the bank, it's very simple. You know, for example, let's say Bank X is having 100 employees. Bank Y is having 200 employees. Now when you merge the bank, you may not need 300, that is 100 plus 200 is equals to 300. You may get the work done just by 250 people only. So you will save, you will improve the efficiency, and because of that many people would, you know, be asked to voluntarily retire and so forth. At the same time, the future vacancies would also reduce. So that was one of the criticism, but again, that we cannot move ahead with inefficiency. So this efficiency was required, that's why the bank merger was done. However, there is a negative side of this. The negative side of this is, if this bank is doing good and this bank is doing bad, so we would want the good bank's effect to come on the bad bank. Not bad bank is another concept. So we want that the bank that is doing good should positively affect the bank that is doing bad, correct? But guys, it can be easily the other way around as well. The bank that is doing bad can have an influence on this. So that is a negative externality. The positive externality is that having good influence on this bank as well and increasing the efficiency of the banking system. Now, consider the following statements. Capital adequacy ratio is the amount that the banks have to maintain in the form of their own funds to offset any loss that banks incur if the account holders fail to repay dues. Capital adequacy ratio is decided by each individual bank? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Who regulates the bank? The bank is regulated by, the banks are regulated by the RBI. If you will ask the banks only to decide as much as buffer to keep, they would keep zero buffer at times. If more people are wanting money, they will be like, give it, not a problem, give it, and that will be a problem. So you cannot ask, do you check your own answers? See, you may check at times, but if it is, let's say UPSC exam, and after the exam you will get selected, so you will not check your own UPSC answer sheets, right? Because you will be biased, you will give yourself full marks. In the same manner, the CAR will not be decided by the individual bank. RBI is the regulator, guys. Okay, RBI is going to tell how much should be the percentage. So statement 2 is absolutely wrong. The banks are not going to decide themselves. So what about statement 1? What is capital adequacy ratio? It is the classical definition which they have given. They have to keep some amount with them, the banks. Why? Because when you are giving loans, it is possible that your loans may not get back. So then what you will do, right? See, what happens is, when I keep my money as fixed deposit, let's say I kept 10 lakh rupees as fixed deposit. You kept your 10 lakh rupees as fixed deposit. Like this, 10 people kept it and the bank had 1 crore rupees to give as loans. The bank cannot give entire 1 crore as loans. Why? Because if they give entire 1 crore as loan and only 7 people repay it, so only 70 lakh plus interest. So let's say about 75 lakh comes back. But you have to give 1 crore plus interest to the people who fixed deposited the money in your bank. So from where will you have the money? That is why some amount from this 1 crore is kept aside for such shocks. Okay. and that is when such amount is maintained by the bank in the form of their own funds for offsetting any loss that the banks will incur when the account holders fail to repay. That is your capital adequacy ratio. I hope that's absolutely clear. Let's move on to the next question. The next question says, consider the following statement. Statement 1, the Reserve Bank of India manages and services the Government of India securities but not any state government securities. The statement is wrong. Okay. Let's see if we are getting the answer from others also. Treasury bills are issued by the Government of India and there are no treasury bills issued by the state government. Yes, that's correct. Treasury bills, guys, is issued by the Government of India. Mark this down, it's there in your book as well. Treasury bills offer are issued at a discount from the par value. They are issued at a discount from the par value. So you will get it at a discounted rate. Now it's a very factual question. It's mentioned in your book. You should know that. You cannot, let's say for example, use any logic to understand whether it is issued by only Government of India or not. Okay. So the option here would be C. Which of the following best describes the term merchant discount rate? It's a very recent question. You can also put this, let's say, under microeconomics, for example. It's related to the customer or consumer. Okay, merchant discount. Now, probably this is a very recent question. If it would have been asked 15 years ago, you would probably have been able to answer if you were of this age which you are right now when giving the exam, 21 years of age, 15 years ago. Why? Because earlier you would see that. Now you will not realize that because it does not even exist as such now prevalently. What is this? You know, when let's say 15 years ago or 10 years, 15 years ago for example, or let's say 10 years ago for example, you have a debit card and you go to a clothing store to buy some clothes. You buy a few clothes and now you are about to pay. You have cash as well as debit card. So you ask the shopkeeper that you want to pay, you tell the shopkeeper that you want to pay through the debit card and not cash. So the moment you say I won't pay through cash, I will pay through debit card, the shopkeeper will say that, sir, ma'am, in that case you will have to pay 5% extra. So that was the situation earlier. Can we imagine that thing right now? Right now if you pay through credit cards, you get certain points. If you pay through debit cards also, you get certain points. You pay through GPay and stuff, you get certain coupons, cash back, etc, etc. At that time, if you are paying through the debit card, you would be charged some extra amount, and that extra amount is nothing but the merchant discount rate. Now the word discount is there, but it was not a discount for the consumer. Okay, so let's see what it is. The incentive given by a bank to a merchant for accepting payments through debit cards pertaining to that bank? No. The amount paid back by banks to their customers when they use debit cards for financial transactions for purchasing goods and services? No. The charge to a merchant by a bank for accepting payments from his customer through the bank's debit card. So, the thing is, when I am paying through debit card, what is happening? The bank is charging the merchant. Okay, the charge to a merchant by a bank for accepting payments from his customers through the bank's debit card. So earlier there was charge on that. Now we want everyone to go online and digitize the payment. Then there was a charge. Why? Because it was a service. It was not prevalent. Very less people used it, and still you have to maintain the service. There is a huge amount of fixed cost associated with maintaining any service. For example, this entire digital board. Lakhs of rupees worth of this digital board. If only one student is sitting, it's a huge cost. But if 40 students are sitting, that would be better, right? So fixed cost, whether it's 1%, 40%, remains the same. So in that case, that is why, since the prevalence was so less, now it's prevalent. It's very prevalent. That is why all this is not there now as such. So It was the charge to a merchant by a bank for accepting payments from his customers through the bank's debit cards. And since the merchant was being charged, the merchant would immediately transfer that charge to you. Sir, if you are paying, then you will have to pay this much extra. So that is what is meant by merchant discount rate. Moving on to the next question. Which one of the following statements correctly describes the meaning of legal tender? Legal tender. The money which is tendered in courts of law, see, UPSC tries to fool you also, right? But the idea is to not get fooled. Why? What do? They use the word legal and they have given the word court of law. Legal court of law, yes, it looks amazing. I am attracted to this option. I'll tick this option and you will get it wrong. And generally, this fooling option, the UPSC does not try to fool you everywhere. Sometimes it does. For example, in 2016, they asked a question about Swayam, and the first option that they gave was the self-help group. Now, Swayam means to do things on your own. And what does self-help group means? The group helping themselves. So it is the most attractive answer, not the correct answer. So what did UPSC do? Since they asked what is Swayam, the first option they gave was the most attractive one, though not the right one. That's what UPSC has done here. Legal, courts of law. Right? So that is why a serious aspirant who has done thorough study and also revision and also have attended all these classes would know that possibly this is there to trap me. So avoid it. Okay. Second, the money which a creditor is under compulsion to accept in settlement of his claims. Yes. Absolutely yes. What do I, why is that the case? See, if I give you 1000 rupees and at 10% interest rate and you have to return that to me, after 1 year you will return 1100 rupees. Now if instead of 1100 rupees you are returning to me, let's say rice worth of 1100 rupees, I may deny to take it. No boss, I gave you money, rupees, Indian rupees, I want it back. If you are giving me wheat, I can deny it. If you are giving me, let's say, television for example, I can deny that also. And then claim for you to not have given me the money back. But if you are giving me back Indian rupees, INR, it's a bearer rupee basically. It does not have any name written. What is bearer? Whoever holds it, it belongs to them. Because it has no name written over it. So our Indian rupee is a legal tender. Legal tender as in, if you are wanting it to pay me 1100 rupees back through Indian rupee, which is a legal tender, now I cannot deny it. Now I cannot reject it. In the sense that you can give me those 1100 rupees as 100 rupees notes, as 10 rupees notes, right, as 500 rupee, 500 rupees plus 100 rupees notes, I cannot deny. Okay. So the money which a creditor is under compulsion to accept in settlement of his claims is a legal tender. Let's look at other options also. The bank money in the form of check, drafts, bills of exchange, absolutely wrong. This was also wrong. The metallic money in circulation in a country, no. It's the it will just be a part of it because there is paper currency as well. So the most probable best answer is the money which a creditor is under compulsion to accept in settlement of his claims. Okay, very simple one, factual but simple. Which one of the following links all the ATMs in India? Indian Banks Association, no. National Securities Depository Limited, no. It's talking about securities. What will it have to do with the currency? Reserve Bank of India, no. It's the National Payments Corporation of India, famously known as the NPCI, National Payments Corporation of India. Okay, let's move on to the 15th one. with reference to India's decision to levy an equalization tax of 6% on online advertisement services offered by non-resident entities, which of the following statement is correct? It is introduced as a part of the Income Tax Act. No, it has not been introduced as a part of. This is again a factual question, guys. Non-resident entities that offer advertisement services in India can claim a tax credit in their home country under the double taxation avoidance agreements. No, this is also not the case. So let's again go through the question. With reference to India's decision to levy an equalization tax of 6%. Now what is equalization tax of 6%? Why it was brought in? See, the thing is, I'll tell you what is happening. Take the example of YouTube. There are foreign YouTube creators, foreign channels, foreign entities, organization, individuals who are there on YouTube. Okay. Now we all in India are watching YouTube. They show us advertisements. Basically, we are watching advertisements, and in between we get to see some video. But they show us advertisements. Now, when you see an advertisement like us, like that, a lot of us see in advertisements. So what happens is, the person who had uploaded the video on their YouTube channel, on that channel you have seen the advertisement. So that person will get some revenue out of it. Now that person, for example, let's say is from USA. Now advertisement is seen by an Indian. That means the service is being sold in India. Okay. They are getting revenue because of India. Right? Because of India. But they used to not pay any taxes. No taxes. They will pay only taxes in their home country, or they may not pay whatever it is at their system. Okay. But here they are not paying any taxes, but they are earning money because of all of us Indians. There will be foreigners also in India who are streaming and getting the advertisement in India, but majorly the Indians, right? So then the government decides, boss, it will not work like this. You will have to pay an equalization tax of 6%. Now why 6%? Why not the high rate of 30%, so on and so forth? Because anyhow they will be paying taxes as income tax in their home country. Right? So let them pay, and we cannot put an additional burden if they are paying 50% tax in Canada and we also ask for 30%. It won't work like that. But since, boss, you may be incorporated in USA, you may be incorporated in Canada, you may be a Canadian citizen, but if you are selling your services in India and the Indian market is helping you gain the revenue, then boss, you have to pay the equalization tax of 6%. That was the concept, and this was the reason for equalization tax. Of course, it was not a part of the income tax. As I said, it was not of the proportion of 30-40% like the income tax. It was an additional tax other than income tax, which they would already be paying in their home country. Okay. Non-resident entities that offer advertisement services in India can claim a tax credit. No, they cannot claim tax credit. Tax credit is generally claimed with respect to the income tax. For example, if India would have said, we will also charge you 30% as income tax, and then US is also charging them, then they can tell one of the government, boss, I am already paying here, so I won't pay you there. But this 6% is over and above whatever you may be paying in your country. It is not either this or that, it is over and above whatever you are paying in your country, hence there is no such exemption. Clear? So statement 1 is also wrong, statement 2 is also wrong. The correct answer would be neither 1 nor 2. Next question. 15th. This should be 16th question. Okay. 16th question says, consider the following statements. So there was another question just above of NPCI. Now NPCI was one of the options. Now based on that option only the entire question has been asked. Okay. That's what UPSC does. You should keep in mind. Now, the question is, National Payments Corporation of India, that is NPCI, helps in promoting financial inclusion in the country. Yes. Yes. Let's look at this also. Which was that? NPCI option. Where did it go? Yeah. Which one of the following links all the ATMs in India? NPCI. This is nothing but an act of financial inclusion, right? So NPCI helps in promoting financial inclusion in the country. Yes, that is absolutely correct. Statement 2, NPCI has launched RuPay, a card payment scheme. Yes, it has launched the RuPay cards. All right. So both statements are correct. The correct option would be the correct answer would be option C. Both 1 and 2 are correct. Now, which of the following statements best describes the term scheme for sustainable structuring of stressed assets recently seen in news? They are asking about the S4A scheme. Why this scheme? See, in India, what happens is a lot of companies fail, and once you fail, it's not that easy in India to get out of that business. In USA, if the business is failing, government will be like, okay, not a problem, we'll take care of it. You go and start another business. The person will immediately start another business. Here it keep becoming worse and worse and worse. So for that, the government has come up with various schemes. So one such scheme is the scheme for sustainable structuring of stressed assets. Stressed assets as in, for example, I have taken a loan to start a business. Now my revenue generation due to some reason is not much, right? With that money, I have taken a piece of let's say a shop or place wherein I have opened some business. Now that business, for that business, let's say it's a computer internet cafe. I've opened that. I have computers, this, printing machines, so on and so forth, everything. So I utilize, let's say 10 lakh for all this thing. Now I'm just giving a very small example. This would be in a grand scale. For example, the SR Steel case. SR Steel case was there of crores and crores rupees. Here we are talking about a small amount. So 10 lakh rupees I invested. Now it is not working. I am not able to generate revenue. So what happens is the bank keep forcing me for money. I don't actually have money. It's not like I have siphoned it off. It's not like that I am enjoying the luxuries. No, I really don't have money to, so what to do? So the government now says, boss, do one thing. Tumse na ho paega. You won't be able to do it. So whatever your asset is, based on that, let's restructure. Can we restructure your loan? For example, if it was at 12%, can we make it at 9%? Can we give you a 6-month moratorium period? Moratorium period means for the next 6 months you will not have to pay any of the EMIs. Can we do something like that so that you also are able to pay and the bank also does not incur losses, right? So if with interest rate, let's say for 10 lakhs I would be required to give 12 lakhs, the bank will say, don't give me 12 lakhs here. Can you at least return me the entire 10 lakhs that you have taken? At least do that. So that is the kind of restructuring, right? In other cases, there are other provisions also for giving this my entire setup to someone else, selling it off and with that money paying it to the bank. That is one way. The other way is to restructure my loan. Okay, so for those things, different things were brought in. One such thing was the scheme for sustainable structuring of stressed assets. Sustainable structuring of stressed asset is this. If the person is not paying, not able to pay, let's help and find a mutual way. Okay, so that was the concept. Now let us understand which of the following statement best describes it. It is a procedure for considering the ecological costs of development schemes. No, not ecological costs. It is when the businesses are always failing. It is a scheme of RBI for reworking the financial structure of big corporate entities facing genuine difficulties. Yes, that is what I explained. Genuinely, I am not able to pay. So, rework the financial structure. Boss, if you can't pay at 12%, pay at 9%. Let's take 6 months of a gap, so on and so forth, whatever it is mutually discussed. Okay, so this will be the right option, but let us see other options as well. It is a disinvestment plan of the government. No, it's not a disinvestment plan in the PSUs. Absolutely not. It is an important provision in the insolvency and bankruptcy code. No, insolvency and bankruptcy code will have different thing. It will ask to sell off. For example, the SR scheme, SR Steel got the court order it to be sold off. So when it will get sold off, then you can repay. So it is not selling off, it is just restructuring. You can see scheme for sustainable structuring of stressed assets. Right, you are sustainably structuring, restructuring in a sustainable way, so that is sustainably structuring it. It is not selling, it is not disinvestment or anything. So the correct option is option B, that is, it is a scheme of RBI for reworking the financial structure of big corporate entities facing genuine difficulties. Right, coming on to question 18. What is the purpose of setting up of small finance bank? Small finance bank. Probably for people with small amount of savings, right? So that they can save those 100, 200 rupees as well. That was the entire concept, to increase the ambit of financial inclusion. So let us see. To supply credit to small business units. Now, small finance bank, as in there will be limits. Beyond that, they will not do it. But below that, they will do similar kind of activities. Some activities will not be allowed. For example, credit card and all may not be there in payments bank as well. But certain other activities would be there. Let's see which one. To supply credit to small business units, yes. To supply credit to small and marginalized farmers, yes. To encourage young entrepreneurs to set up business, particularly in rural areas, no. Encouraging is not the task of the banks. The government can do it, bring up different scheme, create awareness. So the correct answer is A, that is 1 and 2. Which one of the following is most likely consequence of implementing the unified payments interface, that is UPI. UPI, we are using UPI a lot these days. Okay. Which of the following is the most likely consequence of implementing unified payments interface? Mobile wallets will not be necessary for online payments. Let's look at other options first. Digital currency will totally replace the physical currency. No, digital currency need not necessarily completely replace the physical currency in about 2 decades. No. FDI inflows will drastically increase. No. Direct transfer of subsidies to poor people will become very effective. Even if the bank account is there, it will still be effective. This will not improve it. So what will happen? Mobile wallets will not be necessary for online payments. And now we have UPI. So now mobile wallets are not necessary. It directly takes it from your bank account and transfers it. Earlier, without UPI, what will happen? You will have a mobile wallet. For example, you had MobiQuick. It was a mobile wallet. Now UPI is there. Phone Pay, GPay, everything is through UPI. So when UPI was not there, or if UPI is not there, then you will have to transfer the money in the wallet first. Once it's in the wallet, then you can make the payment from there. Direct from here, you could not make the payment. But now due to the presence of UPI, you can directly make the payment. That means mobile wallets will not be necessary for online payments. Okay, coming on to the next question, that is question 20. What are the purposes of the government's sovereign gold bond scheme and gold monetization scheme? I think this is a 2015 question. 2016, I think 15 or 16. This is a 2016 question, I think. This is the question I think I solved when I gave my exam. So 15 or 16, you can just check it out. What are the purposes of the government sovereign gold bond scheme and gold monetization scheme? To bring the idle gold lying with Indian households into the economy? Yes, gold is lying there. Bring it into the economy through the gold bond scheme. There is a negative of that, because the gold may be lying in the form of necklaces, bangles. It has making charges also, designs, and you like it, there is a design to it, there is a making charge of 20% plus, so on and so forth. So you cannot simply then convert it into gold biscuits or gold coins and save it and bring it in the Indian economy. That was one of the biggest challenge of this scheme. That's why gold bond scheme also came in, that instead of just giving your gold actually, which was gold monetization, you give the physical gold. Then the gold bond scheme came, wherein you don't have to give as such the physical gold, but your bond would be indexed to the price of the gold. Okay, so these were the two different schemes. So which were the purpose they have asked? To bring the idle gold lying with Indian households into the economy? Yes. To promote FDI in the gold and jewelry sector? No. To reduce India's dependence on gold imports? Yes. When your gold comes into the market, it becomes available for others as well. Instead of lying at home, you can earn some money with it, and we would reduce the imports. So 1 is correct, 3 is correct. So 2 we anyhow got, 1 we anyhow got to know it's right, 2 we got to know it's wrong. So when 2 is wrong, this is gone, this is gone. 3 we have to see whether it's right or not. 3 is also right. So the correct option is option C, that is 1 and 3. Now guys, let's just take a break of 10 minutes and let's reconvene in 10 minutes again. Thank you. Rupesh, shall I keep continuing or what? Unnecessarily break should I take or not? Because good people, a good number of people are watching it, 8, 9, 10 people.
Attention all UPSC aspirants, are you ready to embark on a transformative journey towards success? Look no further, because Legacy Attention all UPSC aspirants, are you ready to embark on a transformative journey towards success? Look no further, because Legacy IAS Academy proudly presents its highly anticipated new UPSC coaching batch commencing on May 13th, 2024. Our comprehensive 1-year foundation course is designed to equip you with everything you need to conquer the UPSC exams from prelims to main syllabus. Optional subject guidance, mentorship, study materials, interview guidance and rigorous test series, we have got you covered. Choose the mode of education that best suits your needs, whether it's online, offline or innovative hybrid model. With each batch limited to just 40 students, now is your chance to secure your spot in the exclusive program. But hurry, seats are filling up fast. Don't miss out on this golden opportunity to receive top-notch guidance from our experienced faculty and propel your UPSC journey towards success. Call us today at 9606900004 or 02 to secure your registration. Join Legacy IAS Academy and let's turn your dream into reality. Thank you.
Alright guys, so let's continue now. Okay, we have seen up to 20 questions. The last question we saw was of course of the sovereign gold bond scheme and the gold monetization scheme. I have explained the difference also. in gold monetization scheme, your physical gold is given, the gold getting monetized. But that has an issue because your gold is in jewelry form, it has making charges, so on and so forth, so you would be reluctant. That is why then the government also came up with the sovereign gold bond scheme, wherein you don't have to give your physical gold, you can just buy the gold bond which is indexed with the gold. Meaning the increase in the returns on your gold bond would be related to the increase in the rates of the gold. Okay, so we saw that. Now let's move on further. Question number 21. Now, the term base erosion is what they are trying to ask. Base erosion and profit shifting. So, the term base erosion and profit shifting is sometimes seen in the news in the context of what? Okay. So, option 1, mining operation by multinational companies in resource rich by backward areas. Now, again sort of a trap. Why? There is a word erosion here and they have given the word mining here. So, when you are actually mining, you are eroding the soil. Okay, so that is the link they have tried to do. It is a trap. It has nothing to do with mining. So this is wrong. Curbing of the tax evasion by multinational companies. Yes. It is to actually curb the tax evasion. What is tax evasion? You are supposed to pay taxes, but you don't pay taxes. You evade the taxes. That is tax evasion. So to curb those tax evasion by multinational companies, base erosion and profit shifting was brought in, and it was brought in by the European Union. Brought in by the European Union. Remember this, because next time they can ask who of the following had brought the base erosion and profit shifting. But let's look at the other options also. Exploitation of genetic resources, no, nothing to do with genetic resources as well. What is happening is, I'll tell you the concept and why did they bring it. I am a company in India, for example. I know the taxes are very high over here. So what I will do is, I'll open my firm in Cayman Islands. Where will I open my firm? I will open my firm in Cayman Islands. Now Cayman Island is a tax haven. Tax haven as in they do not charge any tax. Tax free. So I am an Indian, right? But opened my firm in Cayman Islands. My entire operation is here, but my firm is registered in Cayman Islands. So it will pay the taxes applicable in Cayman Island, which is 0. So I will pay no taxes. I'm sitting here, I'm working here, I am an Indian citizen, my team is entirely from India, for example, no one is from Cayman Island, but I have registered my firm in Cayman Island, so I will be paying taxes as per Cayman Island, which is 0%. So effectively I am paying no taxes. So what am I doing? I am actually shifting my profit, and my profit is being shown as a profit I am getting from Cayman Island. So what did I do? Profit shifting. I have shifted my profit from India to Cayman Islands. That is what people were doing in European countries, shifting their profit from European countries to Cayman Islands, right? As a result of which profit shifting. Okay. So to address that, base erosion and profit shifting was brought in by European Union. What's the last option? Lack of consideration of environmental costs. No, it has nothing to do. They have taken this erosion word and given you mining, given you genetics, given you environment. So even if you know a bit about it, you don't have to exactly know about it. You can still get the answer. Rest all are related to environment and science and tech, like mining, genetics and environment. Okay. It's a pure economy question, nothing to do with environment or anything. Now, what is the purpose or purposes of marginal cost of funds based lending rate MCLR announced by RBI? Marginal cost of fund based lending rate, marginal cost lending rate, you can say MCLR. Okay. These guidelines help improve the transparency in the methodology followed by banks for determining the interest rates on advances. Yes. These guidelines help ensure availability of bank credit and interest rates which are fair to the borrowers. Yes, I'll explain what this is. Once you know what this is, it is easy to understand both the statements are right. So what is marginal cost of funds based lending rate? See, please understand that the RBI has a repo rate. What is a repo rate? The repo rate is a rate at which the RBI gives its money to the banks for giving advances to people, giving loans to people, right? So now this repo rate, let's say it's 6%. Okay. So what RBI would do is, RBI would keep a ceiling. Okay. Also there is a floor percentage also, but more interested in the ceiling percentage. RBI will say, boss, 6% is my repo rate, plus this X% is your operational cost, processing cost, everything, plus this Y percentage should be your profit. And this X percentage, and there might be a chance that some of the people do not repay loans and all that. So let's add another percentage, Z percentage for that. Okay. So this X plus Y plus Z plus the rate at which RBI gave loan to the bank. So operational costs, people not returning the money, and the profits. So what is the answer here? 6 plus X plus Y plus Z percentage. So boss, this is the percentage, plus I may take some buffer also, let's say percentage A. So this is the percentage, this buffer percentage plus this profit percentage would be nothing but the marginal cost. Why that would be the marginal cost? I'll tell you why that's a marginal cost. 6% the bank has to give the RBI if they are taking money from the RBI. This X was their operational processing cost. This Z if they are not getting any money back, right? Plus the bank needs to have some profit and some additional, buffer for some inefficiency or anything. So this, if there is no inefficiency, this will also become their profit only. Okay. So this is the amount they can have as profit. This is the amount they have to anyhow spend. So this is the total amount. So RBI will define a percentage which will be 6 plus X plus Z plus Y plus A. And above this, the banks cannot lend money above this percentage. Okay. How have we come to this percentage? By adding this marginal cost of money. Okay. So with the help of this, there is a ceiling rate that has been set. Earlier what used to happen, people would extort money, people would get at a higher percentage during the, especially during the British rule I am talking about actually. Okay, so all that is not there, banking system is there, it is properly regulated, there will be an upper ceiling, above that you cannot give the loan. Now you can give loan at different rates. For example, you can get a personal loan at 16%, I may get at 17% because my credit score may not that be good. So based on that it may fluctuate, but then it may not still go above a certain ceiling. If the credit score is so bad, then you cannot say that okay, I'll charge you 100%, then you will not get the loan only. Okay, so there will be a ceiling. So now let's look at these statements again. These guidelines help improve the transparency, yes, in the methodology followed by the banks for determining the interest rates on advances. It is making it very transparent. These guidelines help ensure availability of bank credit and interest rate which are fair to the borrowers as well as the bank. Yes, absolutely correct. Moving on, question number 23rd. The term core banking solution is sometimes seen in news, Which of the following statements best describes this term? Core banking solutions. Number 1, it is a network of bank branches which enables customer to operate their accounts from any branch of the bank on its network regardless of where they open their accounts. So for example, I have a bank account in X bank, in Y branch. Now I need not necessarily every time go to the Y branch, I can utilize Z branch as well and will get all the facilities available. Okay. Now that is exactly what the concept of, what happened to this? That is exactly what the concept of the core bank means. Oh, sorry, I think this has changed. Let me just quickly open it. Yes. Okay, so the term core banking solution. So this is exactly the classical definition of core banking solution. That is, it is a networking of bank branches which enables the customer to operate their accounts from any branch of the bank on its network, regardless of where they have opened their account. So I may have opened account in the Y branch, but I can do anything I want to do from the Z branch as well. That is what is meant by the core banking solution. Right, so statement one is absolutely clear. What they are asking which statements describe it, means what statements are correct is what they are asking. So 23rd, statement 1 is correct. Statement 2, it is an effort to increase RBI's control over commercial banks through computerization. No, it has nothing to do with this. So statement 2 is wrong. Once statement 2 is wrong, B is gone, D is gone, you are left with two options, that is A and C. So still it depends on the statement 3. It is a detailed procedure by which a bank with huge non-performing assets is taken over by another bank. No, it's completely unrelated. It is completely unrelated. It is so unrelated that you can actually think any option with 1 and 3 both will be removed. 1 and 3 both remove. 1 and 3 both remove. And anyhow, this is also a way to remove that this and this is not related at all. So core banking solution is basically this. This is the entire definition of core banking solution. Hence the correct answer is option A only. Now coming on to the 24th question. The establishment of payments bank. So small banks were there, along with small banks you have got the payments bank as well. The establishment of payment bank is being allowed in India to promote financial inclusion. Yes. Which of the following statement are correct in this context? Statement 1. Mobile telephone companies and supermarket chains that are owned and controlled by residents are eligible to be promoters of the payments bank. Yes. Why were they made eligible to be promoters of the payment bank? Because they have a huge customer base. So the access would be easier. Example, you have Airtel Payments Bank. What is Airtel? Mobile telephone company. So mobile telephone company, supermarket chains, all those were made eligible for it. So this option is gone. Payments bank can issue both credit cards and debit cards. Absolutely wrong. It cannot issue the credit cards. It can issue debit cards, but it cannot issue credit cards. So statement 2 is wrong. When statement 2 is wrong,
attention all UPSC aspirants. Are you ready to embark on a transformative journey towards success?
And 3. Look, what is third? But still you have to read the third statement as well. What is third statement? Payment banks cannot undertake lending activities. They cannot undertake lending activities. Coming on to question 25th. Related to bitcoins. With reference to bitcoins, sometimes in news, which of the following statements are correct? Sometimes they may ask incorrect also, so or not correct, so keep that in mind. Bitcoins are tracked by central banks of the country. No. Some countries have started regulating it, some countries have made it illegal, so they are not that are tracked by the banks. In fact, it is independent of banks. Right, it is a decentralized network. So statement 1 becomes wrong. Now only two options left, that is B and C. So third will anyhow be right, but we'll come on to that. let's look at the third statement first. Online payments can be sent without either side knowing the identity of the other. Yes. You can be anonymous. So 3 is correct. Both options are left. Statement 2. Anyone with a Bitcoin address can send and receive Bitcoins from anyone else with a Bitcoin address. Yes. There is no need of an intermediary. So statement 2 is also correct. 3 is also correct. The correct answer is option B, that is 2 and 3. Now, question 26. When the Reserve Bank of India, that is RBI, reduces the statutory liquidity ratio, that is SLR. So RBI reducing the statutory liquidity ratio by 50 basis point. 50 basis point means 0.5%. Which of the following is likely to happen? Likely, because anything can happen. In economy, no. Please understand, in economy questions, anything can happen. That is why you will come across terms like most likely to happen. That is why whenever you come in economy terms like this will definitely happen, it has to happen, will necessarily happen, you need to think twice before taking that as right. Okay. India's GDP growth rate increases drastically. Now, UPSC actually keeps on helping you. How they help you? If they would have written India's GDP growth rate increases, you may think. But they have also added a term drastically. So, do you think just by, what do you call? When the Reserve Bank of India, just by reducing the statutory liquidity ratio by 50 basis point, if it is drastically increasing, then why are we struggling so much to become a $5 trillion economy and this and that? We would simply reduce it by 50 basis point and drastically increase, right? So it's not that easy. It may increase, it may not increase, not necessarily it will increase, and that too drastically. UPSC makes it even more obvious for you to understand. It will not drastically increase. Option B. Foreign institutional investors may bring more capital in our country. No. Again, not necessarily, not most likely to happen. Scheduled commercial banks may cut their lending rates. Yes. They may cut their lending rates because now since statutory liquidity ratio has reduced, they have more money to give. When there is more money to give, the price of that money will reduce. If I have more pen to give you, too much pen, very few people to buy, I may reduce the price of the pen so that you buy as much as you want. So now here, the banks will have more money because statutory liquidity ratio was supposed to be kept aside and not given loans from. But now more of that money is available, so more money can be given. That's why the value of the money may become cheaper now. That is why scheduled commercial banks may cut the lending rates. This is correct. It may drastically reduce the liquidity to the banking system. Drastically it will not. It's just 0.5% of statutory liquidity ratio. Okay, so it won't drastically and all, whenever the statements are there, more often than not they will be wrong, so think twice to tick them as correct. This is wrong, this was wrong, here again drastically was there, it was wrong. The correct option is option C. Scheduled commercial banks may cut their lending rates. Now coming on to 27th, the Basel Accord. Basel III Accord, or simply Basel III, often seen in news, seeks to do what? It is asking, it seeks to do what? Option 1, develop national strategies for the conservation and sustainable use of biological diversity. Absolutely not. Basel Accord is related to the banking system, the health of the banking system. Okay, and see, the option is exactly that. Improve the banking sector's ability to deal with financial and economic stress and improve risk management, because Basel Accord deals with health of banking system. Reduce greenhouse gas emission, again environment related. Transfer technology from develop, again environment related. So even if you know a bit, you would directly get the answer. Okay, 27, that is D. Now, let's see if you can answer this question. So I won't be answering this. We have understood 27 question of money and banking in India. Now let us see if you guys can answer this. The question is, if the interest rate is decreased, it's a simple question, logical question, you can apply your logic and answer. So let's see if you can. The question says, if the interest rate is decreased in an economy, the interest rate is decreased in an economy, then it will lead to what? A, decrease the consumption expenditure in the economy. B, increase the tax collection of the government. C, increase the investment expenditure in the economy. Or D, increase the total savings in the economy. So let me just check the comment section. Yes. So what would be the answer here for the 28th question? No answers so far. If the interest rate is decreased in an economy, the interest rate is going down. Is going down. Okay. It will lead to what? Okay, so Thomas is saying it will lead to C. Okay. Increase the investment expenditure. No other answers? Alright. So decrease the consumption expenditure in the economy. Now understand what is happening when the interest rate goes down. When the interest rate goes down, the loans are available at a cheaper rate to you, right? So the money becomes cheaper, so you will get more money. You can take more money, buy more things, invest more things. The business loans will become cheaper. So option C, increase the investment expenditure in the economy, is correct, because business loans are cheaper, more people want to invest. So investment expenditure will definitely increase. But what about others? Increase the total savings in the economy? Not necessarily. Increase the tax collection? We do not know what impact it will have on the taxes. A, decrease the consumption expenditure in the economy? No, the consumption will increase because the loans are cheaper. So people would want more loans to buy things. Personal loans will become cheaper. So you will take personal loans as well to buy your, let's say, a vehicle or any other thing. Okay, so correct answer is option C. It's correct. Next question, what are the facilities the beneficiary can get from the services of business correspondent, bank sathi in branchless areas? Remember, initially in today's lecture I have told you that government also sent people to houses to open the bank accounts. So one such concept is the bank sathi. Okay, statement 1 and statement 2. It enables the beneficiaries to draw the subsidies and social security benefits in their villages. Yes. It enables the beneficiaries in rural areas to make deposits and withdrawals. Yes. When there are no branches of the bank, then the bank correspondents actually visit door to door and help you with all these provisions. That is the concept of bank sathi, basically providing door to door services. Okay. Question number 30, the term marginal standing facility rate. Now what will be the answer to this? Let's quickly see. Marginal standing facility and net demand and time liabilities, sometimes seen appearing in news, are used in relation to, it's a very straightforward question. Banking operations, communication, networking, military strategies, supply and demand of agricultural produce. No, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. The correct answer is banking operation. Marginal standing facility rate, net demand and time liabilities. Net demand and time liabilities as in, yes, I think Darshan has got it right. That's option A. Of course, option A, banking operations. Not just because we are doing money and banking, so it will be that. You should still know it. It is related to banking. Net demand and time liabilities. Liabilities and assets, you can relate it with economy and get the answer here. as regards the use of international food safety standards as a reference point for the dispute settlement, which one of the following does WTO collaborate with? Which one of the following does WTO collaborate with? Understand the question. As regards the use of international, so they want to use international food safety standards as a reference point. Okay, so for what, if there is any dispute, the dispute needs to be settled. Dispute settlement board is there in WTO. So for the international food safety standard, WTO collaborates with whom is the question. It's a very factual question. If you don't know it, avoid answering it. So the answer here would be Codex Alimentarius Commission. You might have heard it if you might have read about WTO. International Federation of Standard Users, no. International Organization for Standardization, no. This is for weights and measurements. World Standard Cooperation, no. The answer is Codex Alimentarius Commission. Remember this. It is very factual. You can't do probably anything about it. Which one of the following is not related to the United Nations? A very interesting question. You should know what are the 15 specialized agencies of United Nations. You should know what all are related to United Nations, because questions like these can come. Multilateral Investment Guarantee Agency, yes. International Finance Corporation, yes. International Center for Settlement of Investment Disputes, yes. All these three are parts. Bank of International Settlement is not a part. So don't go by this tick. Actually, all these are part. So this would, which one of the following is not related? So this is related, so this option is wrong. This is related, this option is wrong. This is related, this option is wrong. Bank of International Settlements is not related. Again, another factual question. United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, that is UNFCCC, is an international treaty drawn at, I think this is environment related question. Somehow it has entered here, but let us solve this. It is drawn at, yeah. So options are United Nations Conference on Human Environment, Stockholm. United Nations Conference on Environment Development, Rio de Janeiro. World Summit on Sustainable Development, Johannesburg. United Nations Climate Conference, Copenhagen. Now, very important thing that comes out of this is, this, guys, is the most important summit there ever was with respect to environment. And almost everything comes out of this 1992 UNCED at Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. This answer is also B, option B, UNCED held at Rio de Janeiro, that is in Brazil, in 1992. Okay, back to the economy question. Question number 34. The International Development Association, a lending agency, is administrated by whom? It is asking about, it is administrated by whom. We are moving towards, we are seeing a lot of factual questions now. International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, this is IBRD. This is what? This is IBRD, and the correct answer is IBRD. The International Development Association, a lending agency, is administered by IBRD. Remember this. At least now some logic can be probably applied here. Consider the following statements. The Commonwealth has no charter, treaty or constitution. India is a part of Commonwealth, correct? So they are asking whether the Commonwealth has, consider the following statements. The Commonwealth has no charter, treaty or constitution. That's correct. All the territories, countries once under the British rule, jurisdiction, automatically joined the Commonwealth as its members. No. We chose to join it. So this is wrong. So the correct option is A. The gold tranche facility, that is the reserve tranche, refers to what? A loan system of the World Bank? No. One of the operations of a central bank? No. A credit system guaranteed by the WTO? No, because credit system as such in WTO, no. It's a trading organization. A credit system granted by IMF to its members? Yes, this is the right option. So what happened is, gold tranche is there. That means the countries which are the members, they put some amount of gold in the reserves, and now whenever there is a need for them, they can get that much amount, some percentage based on the amount they have put over here. They can get that as a credit from the IMF. Is this clear? Now, in the context of the Indian economy, non-financial debt includes which one of the following? Non-financial debt. What do you understand by non-financial debt? First, that is important. But let's see the options. Non-financial debt includes what? Which of the following? Housing loans owed by households, amounts outstanding on credit cards, treasury bills. Non-financial. Now, housing loans owed by households. So you have a collateral already here. You have taken a loan as a collateral on the house. You are not using that to generate any revenue. Here also amount on credit cards. You are not utilizing that as an asset. There is here treasury bills. Treasury bills also, remember, it is issued only by the government of India. In the context of Indian economy, net non-financial debt includes all of them. It includes all of them. Okay. 38. If the RBI decides to adopt an expansionist monetary policy, which of the following would it not do? Would it not do? Which of the following would it not do? Cut and optimize the statutory liquidity ratio. It will do that, so that more money is available. Expansionary policy, so it will do that. So this is a wrong statement. Since one is wrong, this is gone, this is gone, this is gone. You are left with only B option. But let us see. Increase the marginal standing facility rate. Yes, increase it. It will not do that, because increasing marginal standing facility rate will not be an expansionist policy. Cut the bank rates and repo rates. This is an expansionist policy, because it is making money cheaper available for more people, hence expansionary in nature. So this is wrong. The only correct statement is statement 2. This should be statement 2 and this is statement 3. So statement 2 is only correct. That is, only B is the correct option. Moving on to question number 39. Consider the following statement in terms of short-term credit delivery to agricultural sector. District Central Cooperative Bank delivers more credit in comparison to scheduled commercial banks and regional rural banks? No. District Central Cooperative Bank has very less share as compared to these two. It's a factual statement. One of the most important functions of District Central Cooperative Bank is to provide funds to the primary agricultural credit societies. Yes, this is correct. So the correct answer would be option B. Now, very important question, question number 40. With reference to Indian economy, consider the following statements. Okay. Commercial paper is commercial paper, certificate of deposit, call money, zero coupon bonds, everything is mentioned in your book one after the other, and UPSC has asked all of them together. So commercial paper is a short-term uncensored promissory note. Yes, it is a short-term uncensored promissory note. So option 1 is correct. So statement 1 is correct. So this is gone, this is gone. Now you need to see whether 2 is correct or 3 is correct. 2 is certificate deposit is a long-term instrument issued by the Reserve Bank of India to a corporation. Wrong. This is wrong. So once 2 is wrong, this goes away and this would be the right option. But let's see third statement. Call money, again call money was previously mentioned there in another question. Call money is a short-term finance used for intra-bank transactions. Short-term finance, intra-bank transaction can also happen in that. So statement 3 is right. 1 is right and 3 is right. Option C is correct. But let's see what is statement 4. Zero coupon bonds are the interest bearing short term bonds issued by the scheduled commercial banks to the corporations. No, that's not the case. And anyhow, we got our answer the moment we eliminated statement 2 and knew that statement 3 is right. Very well. Now let's move on to question number 41. Consider the following statements. The governor of the RBI is appointed by the central government. That is correct. Certain provisions on the Constitution of India give the central government the right to issue directions to the RBI in public interest. No, it can do it, but provisions in the Constitution as such is not there. So this is wrong, this is wrong. See, understand, it's not saying whether the government can do that or not. Government can do that, but the provision is not there in the Constitution. That's why it became wrong. And this will also be wrong. So the correct answer would be option C, that is 1 and 3. Okay. What is 3? The governor of RBI draws his power from the RBI Act. That is absolutely correct. With reference to urban cooperative banks in India, consider the following statement. With reference to urban cooperative banks in India, consider the following statement. They are supervised and regulated by local boards set up by the state governments. No, they are also under the purview of the RBI. They can issue equity shares and preference shares. Okay, so 1 is wrong. The moment you get 1 is wrong, all becomes wrong. Only option B remains. So yes, they can issue equity shares and preference shares. They are brought under the purview of the Banking Regulation Act 1949 through the amendment in 1966. That's correct. Now let me explain the equity share and the preference share. Preference share will also have equity, but what happens is, right, I have equity share, for example. Total share of a company, let's say, is 100. I have 10 shares. There is also a concept of preference share. Someone has 2 preference share. It can so happen that the person with 2 preference share has more power than the person with 10 equity shares, because the preference share may be given additional powers, may be given the voting rights 10 times, 20 times, 100 times, right? So if this preference share is, let's say, 10x, so this 2 share gives them 20 times then any equity share. If you would have 2 equity share and you would have 2 preference share would be 10 times more powerful than 2 equity share. Voting rights would be 10 times more powerful. So you can have this kind of arrangement as well, wherein there are equity shares as well as preference shares. Indian government, question number 43, Indian government bond yields are influenced by which of the following? Actions of the United States Federal Reserve Bank, yes. Bond yields, it will depend on the dollar as well. Actions of the Reserve Bank, absolutely. Inflation and short-term interest rates, yes. It will be based on inflation. That is why you have the concept of inflation index bond to address the issue of inflation. So all of them are correct. Which of the following effects are creation of black money in India? Which one of the following effects of creation of black money in India has been the main cause of worry for the government? Diversion of resources to the purchase of real estate and investment in luxury housing. Investment in unproductive activities. Okay, diversion of resources, investment in unproductive activities, large donations to political parties, loss of revenue to the state exchequer due to tax evasion. This is the biggest worry. Okay, loss of revenue to the exchequer, since it is happening in the black market, no tax is coming, no income is coming to the government, nothing is happening, as a result of which loss of revenue to the state exchequer due to tax evasion. Now, question 45th. Which one of the following is likely to be the most inflationary in nature? I think this question had been taken previously under inflation or under economic measurement also. But let us see. Repayment of public debt, borrowing from the public to finance budget, borrowing from the banks to finance budget. Now the answer is very simple because the last option is creation of new money. Please note that creation of new money would be the most inflationary in nature. Okay, it would be the most inflationary in nature. The moment you say creation of money, there is nothing more inflationary in this. So you can forget about everything else and simply take creation of new money. Coming on to this, I think someone has asked, sir, why not option C for 44th? I'll tell you why not, because see, we have to understand the direct impact. I'll tell you why not. Because please see here what is happening. Which one of the following effects of creation of black money in India has been the main cause of worry of the government of India? Now, if you look at all the options, all options are happening. Diversion of resources to the purchase of real estate and investment in luxury housing. With the black money, people can divert that money into real estate, into luxury, into anything else. They can, even the black money can be used in terrorist activities, and probably we would argue that that's the biggest thing, right? Let's look at other options also. Investment in unproductive activities and purchase of precious stones, jewelry, gold. Unproductive activity. They are not investing it in creating assets and generating revenue. They are just splashing it out, right? Now, large donations to political parties and growth of regionalism. Large donations to political parties. Now, all these three things are an issue. But why is this happening? Because black money is there, it is leading to the loss of the revenue that should have come to the government. If it comes to the government, all this stops. Okay. See, if this particular thing stops, will the rest of the three things stop? No. If this thing stops, will the rest of the three stop? No. If this thing stops, will the rest of the three stop? No. If this particular thing stops, the rest of the three will anyhow stop if the black money becomes white and is in the system and is no longer black at all. That is one thing. Secondly, this is a very direct impact. So you need to know which is the direct impact. Everything else is subjective. You can decide which is harming more. Subjective and indirect. Because this black money, it's not with the government, you're not paying taxes, now you can do anything with it. But the immediate impact is, immediate and the direct impact is this, and if this stops, everything else will be taken care of. Okay. Now, question 46. The money multiplier in an economy increases which one of the following? Increases with which one of the following? It increases in the cash reserve ratio in the banks? No, it does not. In fact, if the cash reserve ratio is increased, I think it's a repeat question. If the cash reserve ratio increases, we saw that money multiplier in effect will not increase. It will rather have a negative impact. Same with statutory liquidity ratio. Population has no impact. The correct option is option C, that is increase in the banking habit of the people. Now, this should be statement 1. This should be statement 3, and this as 2, and this should be statement 3. Yes, that's correct. Now, retail with reference to India, consider the following statements. I think we are on 47. Yeah. Retail investors through demat account can invest in treasury bills and government of India debt bonds. Yes. Have you guys ever opened any demat account? Through demat account, you can invest in these things. You can open your demat account from your bank also directly. So, 1 is correct. Now, the negotiated dealing system ordered matching is a government security trading platform of the Reserve Bank of India. A very factual thing. So, you have to keep in mind that negotiated dealing system ordered matching. Negotiated dealing system ordered matching, the system basically matches the selling and buying over here without any manual intervention. So that is what is meant by negotiated dealing system order matching is a government security trading platform of the Reserve Bank of India. That's correct. So the correct option is option B, that is 1 and 2. The Central Depository Services Limited is jointly promoted by the Reserve Bank of India and Bombay Stock Exchange. No, the government is involved here. Question 48. In India, the central banks function as the lender of last resort. Lender of last resort usually refers to which of the following? Lenders of last resort isn't, they also give loans to the bank, right? It is the lender of the lender. Bank themselves are lender and the RBI lends to the bank also. So lending to trade and industry bodies when they fail to borrow from other resources, no. RBI will not give to the traders. It will give to the banks and the banks can then give to the traders. It cannot go behind individual traders. There are millions of traders, right? So that is wrong. Providing liquidity to the banks having a temporary crisis, yes. To the banks, yes. So this is also gone. Lending to government to finance budgetary deficits, no. But government can take money from the RBI and lower its reserve and draw it down, but lending and all to government, that activity is not a part why it is called as the lender of last resort. It is called lender of last resort because when the banks also do not have it, the RBI is going to provide it. Okay, coming on to 49th. With reference to the Indian economy, what are the advantages of inflation indexed bonds? So, understand the concept of inflation index bond. What happens is, if on the bond, the profit, the interest you get is known as the yield. If you are getting 10% yield on the bond, you may think you are doing well. But there might be an inflation index bond giving you 5% yield. You may think this is better, but no, this is inflation indexed. So this can be better when, let's say, the inflation is 8%. So you are getting 10% here. That means an 8% is inflation. So 10 minus 8 gives you how much? You are effectively getting only 2%. As far as this is concerned, this is already inflation index 5%. That means it is over and above this 8%. So basically you are getting 8 plus 5, that is 13% return. And even if inflation eats up 8%, you still get 5% of the value. I hope that's absolutely clear. So based on that, we are yet to solve the question. Government can reduce the coupon rates on its borrowings by way of inflation index bonds. Government can reduce the coupon rates at its borrowing. Okay. So in inflation index bond, anyhow, the interest percentage is lesser because it is on top of the inflation. So this is correct. Inflation index guarantee provides protection to the investors from uncertainty regarding inflation. Yes, exactly what we said. This is also correct. So 1 is correct, 2 is correct. This would be gone. This would be gone. Let us look at third. The interest received as well as capital gains on IIBs are not taxable. No, they are taxable. It has nothing to do with savings on the taxes. No. So 3 is wrong. Option would be A, 1 and 2. Which of the following situation best reflects the indirect transfer often talked about in media recently with reference to India? Indirect transfer, the concept of indirect transfer. An Indian company investing in a foreign enterprise and paying taxes to the foreign country on the profits arising of its investments. A foreign company investing in India and paying taxes to the country of its base on the profits arising out of the investment. An Indian company purchasing tangible assets in foreign country and sells such assets after their value increases and transfer the proceeds to India. A foreign company transfers shares and such shares derive their substantial value from assets located in India. Indirect transfers. Okay, so this one is wrong. Why? A foreign company investing in India paying taxes to the country of its base on the profits arising out of its investment. So this is leading towards base erosion and profit shifting. That it is that concept. If it is a foreign company registered in Cayman Island, right, it is invested in India, generating revenue out of India, but registered in Cayman Islands, so they will not pay taxes there also, they will not pay taxes here also. So base shifting, base erosion and profit shifting, this is not correct. Indian company investing in a foreign enterprise and paying taxes to the foreign, so there is no any transfer happening in India, it is rather going abroad, so this is also wrong. An Indian company purchases tangible asset in a foreign country and sells such assets after their value increases and transfer to the proceeds to India. Now here also no transfer of any value is happening. It is simply, this will simply be the definition of remittance. This is remittance. So this is also wrong. The correct option would be a foreign company. When you talk about indirect transfers, it has to be foreign company transferring shares, and such shares derive their substantial value from assets located in India, and the foreign company has transferred those shares. Achha, which one are you not understanding? Can you just mention me? Which question number, please? I'll repeat it. Abhishek, let me know the question number, we'll repeat it. Maybe this question, is this question? Or the previous question? I guess it will be this question, we'll discuss this. Let me take this question one by one again, okay? Abhishek, please message in the comment if it was some other question or this question, so that we can again repeat it. There's no, but I'll assume it to be this, and I'll explain this again. If it is any other question, please let me know. Now let's do it from the very beginning. The question has given a statement, which one of the following situation reflects indirect transfers? Right. Now the definition they have given are the definition of different things. So it either you should directly know that the indirect transfer talks about the transfer of shares. When you know that the indirect transfer talks about the transfer of shares, there is only one such option which talks about the transfer of shares, which is option D. That becomes correct. Or at least you should know some other statements which is given and what are they, to eliminate the option. So let's look at some other statements. As I said, a foreign company investing in India, paying taxes to the country of its base, means let's say there is a foreign company of Cayman Islands. So their base is in Cayman, but they have invested in India. They are selling their product in India, but they are paying taxes to another country. So this is what? This is profit shifting. This is not the concept of indirect transfers. This is the concept of profit shifting. You are investing in India, you are selling your product in India, you are generating revenue from India, but you are paying taxes elsewhere, either paying or not paying. So you are shifting your profit to some other country by saying that my base is in some other country. So that is like tax evasion, profit shifting. It is not indirect transfers. So this is absolutely wrong, right? Now, an Indian company investing in a foreign enterprise and paying the taxes to the foreign country on the profits arising out of its investment. Now, this is simply Indian company legally working in a foreign company and registering itself in a foreign company and paying taxes there. There is no transfer involved over here. Is there any transfer happening over here? No. There is no transfer, neither indirect nor direct. There is no transfer. So, option A is wrong, option B is wrong. Now, only two options are left, that is option C and option D. So, option C is Indian company purchases tangible assets in a foreign country and sells such assets after their value increases and transfers the proceed to India. So this is nothing but an Indian company doing business abroad, and since they are India, they are sending the money back to India. So this is the definition of remittances. You go abroad, you work abroad, you do business abroad, you earn money and you send the money back to India. All the business and everything you did in foreign and you sent the money back. So this is the definition of remittances, not indirect transfer. So what is indirect transfer? Indirect transfer is when a foreign company transfers the shares. When the share is getting transferred, and such shares derive their substantial value from assets located in India. So the share transfer is actually your indirect transfer. I hope, Abhishek, now it is clear. Okay, so you need to remember the definition of indirect transfer when a foreign company is transferring its share back to India and its share is deriving its power, its value from Indian market, and they have already transferred their share to the Indian market. So that is the indirect transfer that has happened. Okay. I hope it's clear. Abhishek, are you there? Please respond if it's clear. Coming on to question 51. With reference to the Indian economy, consider the following statements. A share of the household financial saving goes towards government borrowings. Yes, a share of household saving goes towards the government borrowings. How does it go to the government borrowings? India share 30% plus is the savings India has. A lot of those savings are inside the house only. You are putting it in jars, storing it, saving it with you in the house. But a lot of money goes in the banking system also, in the banks, that means in the market, and the government borrows money from the market. That means your household financial saving is also going towards government's borrowings. Dated securities issued at market related rates in auction form a large component of internal debt. Yes, dated securities is a large amount of internal debt. How is that possible? When the government wants to borrow money, the government gives you securities. What is security? Security is nothing but a piece of paper. So the government will take 10 lakh rupees from you and will give you a paper in which it will be written that, boss, we have taken 10 lakh rupees from this person and by this date we will repay this much of amount. That is the security, and it forms a large component of the internal debt. Hence both options here are correct. Okay. Yes, I think, Abhishek, I have explained the question which you are having doubt in. Please let me know if that is now clear. Alright. If any other doubt is there, also please let me know about the same. I hope the question number 50th doubt is now clear. Very well. Now let's move on to question 52. Consider the following statements. Statement 1. Tight monetary policy of US Federal Reserve could lead to capital flight. Tight monetary policy could lead to capital flight. Capital flight as in, see, India would have foreign exchange reserve, that is forex, a lot of it available in dollars. If US Federal Reserve comes up with a tight monetary policy, what do we mean by a tight monetary policy? In tight monetary policy, you will make the money costlier. Right? In expansionary monetary policy, you will make it cheaper so that people utilize it. In tight monetary policy, you increase the interest rate so that it is tight, people are not able to use it. So interest rate would be, what will happen to interest rate? Interest rates will go up. Okay, in a tight monetary policy. US Federal Reserve, tight monetary policy by US Federal Reserve, meaning US Federal Reserve is increasing the interest rate. Meaning what? Meaning that now if you would save your money with US banks, it would lead to increase. Alright? Yes. Sorry for the delay or lag. Let's continue. So, as I was saying, tight monetary policy of US Federal Reserve. Tight monetary policy is in US Federal Reserve is increasing the interest rate. Now, when US Federal Reserve is increasing the interest rate, what will happen? If you now store the dollars in the US banks, you will get a higher rate of return. Correct? Since you will get a higher rate of return, what will happen? The dollars invested in India, people would want to take out those dollars from India and invest it in USA. That is why it will lead to capital flight, meaning the US dollars, the capital flying away to US. So statement 1 is absolutely correct. Okay. What about statement 2? Capital flight may increase the interest cost of firms with existing external commercial borrowings. Yes. Capital flight may increase the interest cost of firms with existing commercial borrowings. If you have already taken the loans, those will become costlier, because now there is lesser amount in the Indian economy. It has gone out. So that would become costlier. 1 is correct, 2 is correct. So this option is gone, this option is gone. Devaluation of domestic currency decreases the currency risk associated with ECBs. Wrong. Devaluation would increase the risk associated with external commercial borrowings, because devaluation of Indian rupee meaning the dollar becoming costlier. You have external commercial borrowing, you have taken $100, or let me give you an example wherein you have taken $1 as loan. $1 as loan, $1 earlier equals 50. Now the currency has devalued. Now $1 equals 80 rupees. So you have to repay at a higher amount. The risk will increase. Okay. Now, coming on to question 53. That is, with reference to the Banks Board Bureau, which of the following statements are correct? The governor of RBI is the chairperson? No. The governor of RBI is not the chairperson. So this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. All UPSC wanted you to know that governor is not the RBI chairperson. The governor of RBI is not the chairperson. But let us look at other options. Bank Boards Bureau recommends for the selection of heads of public sector banks. This kind of question was asked previously. We have done. Yes, 2 is correct. Bank Boards Bureau helps the public sector banks in developing strategies and capital raising plans. Yes, it helps in that as well. So both are correct. With reference to convertible bonds, consider the following statements. With reference to convertible bonds, as there is an option to exchange the bond for equity. After the bond period is over, either you can get the money or convert it into equity. That is what convertible means. As there is an option to exchange after the equity, convertible bonds pay a lower interest rate. Yes, the interest rate you will get is lesser because you have an option to get equity also. This is correct. Option to convert equity offers the bondholder a degree of indexation to rising consumer prices. Yes, if the yield is very less because inflation was high, so instead of taking the money back, what do? Is you ask for equity. So it helps in indexation. Both are correct. In India, which one of the following is responsible for maintaining price stability by controlling inflation? Who maintains price stability by controlling inflation? RBI. We are doing inflation targeting, and the responsibility is given to RBI to maintain inflation in the range of 4 plus minus 2%. Clear? Now, next one. Non-fungible tokens. Consider the following statement. They enable the digital representation of physical assets. Yes, your physical asset can be converted into digital asset. Even a painting can be converted into an NFT. So 1 is correct. They are unique cryptographic tokens that exist on a blockchain. Yes, they utilize the blockchain technology and they are unique. They can be traded or exchanged at equivalency and therefore can be used as a medium of commercial transactions. Right now, you cannot do that. Right now, as you know, cryptographic tokens, blockchain and all is not used for commercial transactions. In India also, it is not used as such. So, statement 3 is incorrect. Only A. Only 1 and 2 is correct, third is incorrect, hence the correct option is A, 1 and 2. Alright guys, so now we have finished our money and banking. We have done all 56 questions. Now in the next class we will deal with various economic sectors which has around 60 questions. We will take that up in our next class. Alright guys, thank you so much. Study well and all the best.